What's going on, Geeks? You're listening to episode 319 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name's Cody Armour, and I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo!
And Shelley Nollan is sick. We've all been sick this month, which is kind of crazy, like within weeks of each other.
Yep.
And for those who don't know, we don't record in the same room. We're actually in different states. So it's super odd that we've all gotten some kind of cold or COVID or whatever is going around. But we hope Shelley's feeling better. Her voice is just not there, so kind of hard to record when your voice isn't working very well.
Right.
This week, we're geeking out about more video game showcases. Cobra Kai, kind of. Maybe not Cobra Kai. And Cyberpunk, but not the video game. Kind of the video game. Well, that might get mentioned. But the genre. There's a whole genre of Cyberpunk out there.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful genre. So, I actually can't talk about Cyberpunk, the game, too much today. But I did download it, so maybe I'll talk about it next week. Really excited for it.
Nice.
And then before we get into the podcast, I just want to I'm going to do this next few weeks probably, just mention that geeksundergrace.com/write is a new spot on the website if you want to write for Geeks Under Grace. It's the best way to do so, easiest way to do so. We have two different things there. You can either go old school and volunteer to do like video game reviews and stuff. That's pretty in depth. You got to write so many reviews a month, and there's just a lot more responsibility to it.
Yeah.
But the other one is just a contributor, and to me, it's way more expressive. The reviews, you're reviewing something more objectively, and you're trying to be, I don't know. It's very, this is what this game is. Whereas these articles, the contributor articles, are more about this is how I see pop culture being influenced by the Christian faith.
Right. You get to flex your creativity a little bit more. Not that you couldn't creatively write a review, but, you get to kind of just start typing and see what comes out of, a contributing article like that.
Yeah, I feel like if God's speaking to you through pop culture in any way, this is a good way to express it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good way to put it. So yeah, that's geeksundergrace.com/write. We just published the web page a couple weeks ago, and we're really excited about it. It's
super cool.
It's cool. I'm hoping to see way more content through that pretty soon. Cool. There's actually an article out already. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Very deep and interesting. It is on the purpose of death. We always focus on the purpose of life. It was really cool. Made me think, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We'll get into the video games then. Games that we have been playing. LJ, go ahead.
First of all, I do want to shout out that the new season of Fortnite started yesterday, so that's been fun. Getting back a little bit into that. Spider-Gwen is the final page of the battle pass. So if you're interested, if you kind of like Spider-Gwen and you like Fortnite, then it's pretty dope, pretty exciting.
Cool.
And then the game I wanted to talk about a little more is that I tried it this week, but it's called Metal Hellsinger. And so what this game is, it's on Game Pass. It's basically kind of like Doom, or you actually play as this demon who's entered the hellscape. There's lore to it and everything. There's a bit of a story. Troy Baker does the narration in it, which obviously Troy Baker. But the reason it's called Metal Hellsinger is because there's a beat to that you have to follow whenever you shoot things. So
okay.
It's actually, there's a bunch of songs that are there's a lot of vocalists that are involved, that people know that are involved, System of a Down and things like that. But so the idea is when you're shooting or using the action to kill enemies, if you do it on beat, you get bonus points, and once you raise that multiplier, the vocals will start kicking into the full song, so you can just get into this flow where you're boom, 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 to the beat, and then reload, because there's weapons that have active reloads. So you can just, if you follow the beats per minute, you can just and it has this little cursor thing that you can help it time. You can get into a good little flow. It's pretty fun. There are other games out there like that. There's literally an indie game called BPM, Bullets Per Minute, which
Okay, cool.
I didn't like that game as much. I think it was still in early access at the time, but I have refunded that one on Steam like the very morning I played it. But this one, it's much more polished. It feels like they took a lot of notes from the most recent Doom games, and it is super fun. So if you like metal, which I know there's a lot of metal fans like in the Christian communities and stuff like that. There's a lot of Christian metal artists that people listen to, like Demon Hunter and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're really into metal music and you like first-person shooters, I recommend checking this out. And it is on Game Pass, so it's pretty fun. And
Cool.
So that's kind of it, aside from the usual things I play like weekly.
I don't know what made me want to do it, but I finally got the upgrade to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you xCloud, and I have a really nice controller for my phone. It's the Raze or something. I can't remember what it's called anymore. I got it like a year ago, and I barely used it.
Kishi.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And so I decided that I wanted to try this xCloud and see how it was going. I started with Outer Worlds, and Outer Worlds is playing okay. It's actually the cutscenes that lagged on it, which I thought was really weird. For those who don't know, xCloud is their streaming service, so kind of like Google Stadia is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And so you are not streaming from your computer or from your console. You're actually streaming from their servers. Your save files are on their servers, which is a little weird to me.
But if you do, sorry, I was going to add, their save file, you can actually carry those, like, say, like, you're going to go play whatever you're playing on your, on xCloud, you can go to your PC, since that's where you have Xbox right now, and download that game on your PC, and you'll have that save file on your PC.
Oh, cool, and then play it locally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, I can go to my Xbox and play, like, Halo or something, or play something, and then go to, like, my xCloud, or even my PC, if I have a game on Xbox or PC, that save data automatically reads what's on your console, or vice versa, and you can have that save data wherever.
That's cool.
Yep. So it's more of a cloud-based, like, save data system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, the cutscenes were kind of laggy, which was unfortunate, and that was in my own house. Obviously not landlined anything, but I was on Wi-Fi, and but the gameplay was smooth enough. Like, I was able to shoot and everything, so I thought that was kind of surprising for that kind of game.
Yeah.
xCloud to me, or any kind of streaming service, I just think of RPGs. I'm like, oh, this is perfect because you don't need that time-based.
Yeah, like latency kind of a thing.
Yeah. And so I haven't really, like, went and tried to do anything like online games or anything like that. The next game, the reason that I didn't stick with Outer Worlds is because the text is so small and the enemy is on such a small screen. Like, that's meant for a bigger screen.
Yeah.
To play. It's just, I don't know. It didn't feel good on a phone. So I downloaded an RPG. I downloaded Dragon Quest XI. And I'm playing it in 3D because it's kind of got a cool thing where you can play in 3D or like top-down old school play style. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Such a unique thing. My only problem with it is I would rather the 3D to look more like Octopath.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looks very NES almost.
Because it's a very big transition.
Right.
But it would be neat.
It's almost...
like you were saying, it would be neat to have a game like Octopath where it is like semi-3D. Like, almost like a pop-up book or something. Like, it'd be neat if it went flat and then you changed it and then it just popped out.
Yeah. No, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, the art style for the 2D stuff almost seems too old school and spritey for me. But the gameplay is perfect for a streaming service because I don't have to worry about latency at all. If something were to lag, I'd be fine. I will say I was playing it outside of my house, not on Wi-Fi, but on 5G, and then the network wasn't great. And so it does a really cool thing that I really appreciated, and that was that I wasn't seeing any real lag in the gameplay. It just made the visuals really bad. But that's, like, understandable if you don't have good service. I would think that it would be, like, basically unplayable, and it played pretty well. It was just kind of fuzzy. I was surprised. I figured I wouldn't be able to play outside of like my house. I'm like, kind of what's the point of having a streaming thing if you can't play it outside your house?
Right.
So yeah, that's mostly all I could say. I didn't really get super far into Dragon Quest. I am really liking it. It's just kind of just an old school RPG, but it's got this 3D world to it. I haven't played a lot of modern JRPGs, but it feels very much like I'd expect them to be, I guess. You go out, you find creatures, you hit them, you get put into like an RPG turn-based situation.
Dragon Quest is fairly classic, like when it comes to, even for a modern RPG, that's probably as classic as it's going to get.
Yeah. I've been told that the game gets better the more you play it, story-wise. And I don't mind the story right now, but I hear that, and I think of that weird movie that came out on Netflix. The movie's old. I feel like I can give away enough. It just gets real odd in that movie.
There's some isekai
it breaks
stuff
the fourth
going
wall
there.
real hard.
Yeah.
And so when I hear that the story in this game's gonna get better, I'm like, are they just gonna go like completely off the rails?
I think the movie is like, as far as I know, I think the movie like does that on purpose. Like specifically, I think it's a movie thing.
Okay, movie was strange.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying xCloud. I think it's like $15 a month is what I'm paying.
I think I wrote a Bible study on that movie now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think you did. Man, that movie is...
Yep, it was a trip. Anyway.
It's a fine movie. Don't, like, no one get me wrong. It's just... It's your expectations of what's going to happen.
It definitely goes left, like out of left field with some stuff.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it without giving anything away. It's kind of like they took the storyboard and then just threw it into a blender when they were done. They poured out an entire different concoction at the end. Yep. It's just not the movie you start with, but in a good way. It's smart, I think. And that's what I've been playing. So, like I said, I got Cyberpunk downloaded. I might be playing that. I've beaten not karate. We're going to talk about Karate Kid later. I've got it on my mind. I've been watching a lot of it. Tony Hawk. I beat Tony Hawk. I got all of the...
Hey, you weren't far with the whole Hawk thing.
Huh?
You weren't far with the whole Hawk.
Yeah, there we go. There we go, exactly.
Tony Hawk, not Karate
Skate
Hawk.
Heaven. And getting Skate Heaven made me feel like I basically made it.
Nice.
Skate Heaven is weird, and I feel like I'm missing something. But probably not. Probably not that deep. It's just like certain things that I would think that there's no objectives in that level.
I think it's like one of the last levels, right? For like 2.
Yeah, it's kind of like just
a bonus
unlockable.
level.
Like, hey, you made it, and like I guess it makes sense. There's no objectives because the objectives unlock things, and there's not.
I mean, I think that was like Area 51 in Tony Hawk 1, I believe.
Yeah, I just feel like I go into the one spot and it brings you through this portal, and you go into like another level. And like I've only found one of those, so I'm like, is there more? If there's a bunch of those, cool. If not, I'm just kind of confused at what I'm looking at.
That's funny.
But it reminds me of getting Mew. This is so random on Pokemon Snap.
Oh yeah, like the last level, how it's just kind of like, oh, like here's Mew.
Yeah, it's weird and trippy and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, probably done with Tony Hawk. I do love the replayability and what they did with that. It's got a bunch of stuff for like online play and multiplayer seems really cool. I just don't have any ambition to like get that deep into Tony Hawk. If it was Underground, I'd be all for it.
Oh man, Underground was so good.
Yeah, they'll probably never make it, which is unfortunate. I was reading about that.
Because that company is now fully under Blizzard. Yep.
I don't care about 3 or 4. I think that would have probably failed in the market anyways, and we wouldn't have gotten an Underground 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So if they do it, they just need to make Underground 1 and 2, and it would be awesome. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. We can get into the video game news, LJ.
Cool. All right, so we had numerous video game things happening this past week. Specifically, Tokyo Game Show was also this past week. But that game was, I feel, or not, that showcase was very, like, scattered. Like, there's so much that came out of there. But I'm going to highlight the Nintendo Direct and the State of Play specifically, because I feel like those were still, like, the biggest things. Mm-hmm. The Nintendo Direct, we had things like, I guess I'll get the biggest one out of the way. Tears of the Kingdom is the new name for, Breath of the Wild 2. So
yeah,
that was like the thing they saved for the end, which I heard rumors that, oh my gosh, like they're delaying the Direct because of the Queen's passing, and then now like seeing that title, I'm like, okay, I could see why you would. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like,
I'm so excited for
it. And it's very Skyward Sword. It's very like calling back to Skyward Sword, because I've heard it said that this is going to be like the official end of like the timeline or something like that.
Right.
So.
And then Skyward Sword was supposed to be the first in
Yep.
chronologically, so that's a really cool way to tie everything together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then Pikmin 4 is finally revealed, which that's been like the worst kept secret from Nintendo for like the last couple years. But I've never played a Pikmin game, and I'm going to check that out. The one I wanted to hear Shelley rant about is Fire Emblem Engage. Not Engage like the phone. But this one has, it's a new mainline game that features Marth, and Marth has this two-toned haircut that's red and blue. And so there was leaks before this even came out, and everybody was calling it the toothpaste per tag, because they didn't know. They didn't know if it was actually like, I don't think anybody actually knew for sure if it was going to be like Marth or not. They just saw, oh, this character has red and blue hair. Looks like toothpaste. So I got to see how people feel about that game, because it looks really weird, because it's very JRPG-ish already, but then it has like the technical gameplay of like Fire Emblem also. So I'm like, I'll have to hear Shelley's thoughts on this at some point, because she's the Fire Emblem expert here, and I think a lot of people are still confused. So we'll have to see more about that. Kirby's getting an HD thing or a remake from a Wii U thing. Octopath Traveler 2 was officially announced.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yep.
I never beat the first one, but I love the aesthetic of those games. And again, I would love to be able to play that on my phone. I think that would be a perfect place for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, if it's coming, it's actually coming to every platform this time instead of just Switch.
So if it gets on xCloud, I'll be able to get it.
Yeah, if it does come out there, yes. Let's see, I'm scrolling through here. Bunch of Final Fantasy stuff. Okay, so here's another one. I think, honestly, these were my favorite announcements, was the lineup coming for the Nintendo 64 library. And that is going to include all 3 Mario Party games, which will be first to come out, which I love Mario Party 2. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 are confirmed, which I love the Pokemon Stadium games, especially the first one. So I will definitely be playing Pokemon Stadium again on Switch.
I'm really confused at how that's going to, like, I played Red and Blue a lot on the Stadium, and, like, that influenced my gameplay on Stadium a lot.
Oh, see, there's a lot of people I don't think that actually did, like, because you can still, like, register Pokemon. Like, you basically have access to the entire Pokemon, like, roster for the first game. So basically, you can register a team and go fight, like, the Elite Four or whatever, or go do.
That's such a strange idea to me.
Yeah.
Like, I remember getting specific moves on my Pokemon Red and Blue so that my Pokemon could beat the Stadium people.
That's interesting, because I mean, I know that's like half the reason that game was probably built, but there's people out there like me probably who have never, like, who didn't get that opportunity. So like it was more. I actually played
Red and Blue probably more on Stadium than I ever did on my Game Boy Color.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, we played the free battle stuff a lot. Me and, like, my sister and my cousin and stuff. We played the heck out of the mini games. Which the mini games
were so fun.
The mini games were great.
Rattatas.
Yeah. I remember the like Sandshrew and Sandslash one too.
Yeah, Lickitung.
Yes. The sushi
Lickitung
one.
was the hardest.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But then like I remember you could actually go and take on like the Elite Four and stuff like that. Like there was a whole like it was almost like an arcade mode or something, I guess. Like that's my best comparison of it. It's like you can go.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll do with the red and blue part of it. If they'll just not have it.
I guess not. Like that is kind of weird to think about it because you can't play red or blue or anything on the Switch. So
yeah, it'd be crazy if it's just in there.
Yeah,
there's a whole nother game.
That'd be nuts.
I still say this is kind of off topic, but Pokemon Odyssey should have just had a remake of Mario 64. Did I say Pokemon? Mario Odyssey should have had a remake.
I was like,
of Mario 64 within the game. Small spoilers there.
Yeah.
Like if you could have gone into those levels but used Odyssey's skill set, like the hat, would have been such a cool like reveal.
Yeah, I think it would be neat, like if it was somehow connected to like what's the new thing, Pokemon Home or whatever, and somehow if you still had like your old gen like cool. Leaf Green and Fire Red, if you could use those somehow, like I don't know, like that's so I don't know, like I'm excited just to like play it again. And then Pokemon Stadium 2 was very similar, except I think that roster was a little more mixed. Like obviously it had the like second gen Pokemon, and then like it had some original.
I played less of that.
Yeah, I did too. I played a lot less of it. I think I rented it or something, but Pokemon Stadium 1 was my jam. That was my bread and butter. And then you have 1080 snowboarding and Excite Bike 64, which I loved Excite Bike. I vaguely remember 1080. I know some people love 1080, but Excite Bike 64 was my jam. You could play.
I don't remember the original Excite Bike.
Yeah, you could play. You could edit your own tracks in Excite Bike. You could also play the original Excite Bike games from NES and SNES on there.
Okay.
But I really liked that game. Really fun.
The NES one, I think.
Yeah. There is a Super Nintendo one that was like first person, I think. Also, so you could play that.
That's cool.
But I remember like I have never found a like motocross like style game that has like compared to that game, because I just have so much. I remember having so much fun with that game that like nothing else like has compared the last couple of years. Cool. So yeah, and then the big one that I'm very hyped about, more so because I'm excited to see like to help like excited to see it control better, is GoldenEye is somehow. I don't know how they did the licensing stuff with this, but GoldenEye is also coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
And then with this, you'll be able to connect to three other people online, like via like multiplayer. Mm-hmm. So you can still have the classic, like multiplayer battles, just online on Switch. You're not gonna have like 5v5 or anything like fully like new integrated multiplayer. They've also said that this GoldenEye is coming to Rare Replay on the Xbox as well, but apparently I've heard that version will not have the online multiplayer. It'll still be local. Which is
backwards of Nintendo.
Yeah, well, in this case I don't think it's Nintendo.
Yeah,
it's weird
because Nintendo's not notorious for online game.
Yeah, but I mean it's owned by Rare still, and I think Xbox now obviously owns Rare. Maybe that was some kind of deal, but also like the Perfect Dark remaster was online play. You could play Perfect Dark online when they put that on an Xbox. So I don't know. It makes me wonder if that remaster, if that remaster thing that leaked, like I think was it last year, 2 years ago, will ever come out. I hope it does. But that's it for like the 64 library. Let me scroll through and see what else, if there was anything else notable. More Switch esports stuff, more Mario Striker stuff, more Splatoon stuff. A lot of farming games on this direct.
Okay.
There's a lot of farming RPGs. Oh, Tunic is coming to Switch. It Takes Two coming to Switch.
Yeah, that'll be good. It's a good Switch game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tunic will be really good on Switch. Sifu is coming to Switch, which that game's cool. A lot more RPG stuff. Tales of Symphonia is another well-known RPG from the GameCube that people might like to know that that's coming out. More Rune Factory stuff. I think, weren't you into Rune Factory?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit.
Rune Factory 3 is getting a re-release, and a new Rune Factory game is also on the way.
I don't know what I'm playing. I think I was playing
4,
Rune Factory.
Probably
4.
right. Yeah. I think that's kind of it. The last thing I think that I really am excited about is the Front Mission series of it's tactical RPGs, but it's all mech based, and you get to get parts from your you get to buy and get parts from opponent mechs. I believe. I don't remember if you got them from opponents, but I remember you get to customize them in between missions, and so they're releasing all 3 of them. Not in a collection, but over the next year or so, we're going to be getting Front Mission 1, 2, and 3. So I'm excited for those.
Cool.
Yep. And then I have a lot less to say about the state of play stuff, other than we got the God of War controller thing. The 2 big things I'm excited about, I remember putting that direct or the state of play on at work for a little while, but I couldn't really watch it in between customers and things like that. But the things I really wanted to see, I saw they opened it up with Tekken 8, which that got teased at Evo, but I was like, yes, this is the best way to open for me right now. For me, I'm
so excited.
That already has me won me over the direct easy, because I'm like, Tekken's my game. And so Tekken 8 got fully revealed. About to be a good year for fighting games. Street Fighter 6 revealed that their single player story mode stuff, where you make your own character and learn moves from all the characters during TGS. So it's about to be a really good year for fighting game fans. I think it's called Ishin, which is the Like a Dragon Ishin, which is basically a remake of a Yakuza game we never got. That takes place in feudal Japan. So instead of gangs, it's samurais and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
But they remade that game from the ground up. I don't know if they explained whether it was going to be turn-based, like Yakuza Like a Dragon. I assume it might be, because the series they're actually calling Like a Dragon now. Which Like a Dragon also works perfectly, since... this is kind of a fun time to explain this. The main character of Yakuza Like a Dragon is named Ichiban, is Ichiban, and he's a hardcore Dragon Quest fan. And so that's the reason the new Yakuza game is a turn-based RPG. Is because he's so it's so now the series is called Like a Dragon, and then the Judgment games are supposed to remain fully action-based combat. So
cool.
I'm excited though that this game that we've never seen yet in the West is coming out, and I've read that they were inspired to do Ishin is because of Ghost of Tsushima. So that makes me happy that they saw that and they're like, oh, maybe we should remake this thing for the West, and put it out and stuff like that. So that's exciting.
Cool.
I don't recall if there was anything else major from that.
I don't think so.
It was
except for God of War.
Yeah. So, and this was 20 minutes of the direct was almost an hour. It was 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. Oh, and real quick, I'm not going to talk about it much because I already forgot to mention it, but I did play some of that Modern Warfare 2 beta this weekend. I'm seeing an ad for it now and realized, I forgot to mention that, but that's been fun. More Call of Duty, not much to say there. Which I believe they probably did do some Call of Duty stuff during that state of play. But yeah, that's kind of it. Not really too much to talk about. They did highlight some VR stuff, which later they said that PSVR games will not be compatible with PSVR 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of it.
Cool. Okay.
Yep.
We will get straight into the movies then, since neither of us watched any new movies this week. A few different things. A lot of it, it's all interesting. I don't know if any of it's exciting. There's a Karate Kid movie in the works, and LJ and I are huge Cobra Kai fans. We'll get to Cobra Kai in a little bit. It is not connected to the Cobra Kai show, which I think is a huge mistake. It's coming out in 2024. The creators of Cobra Kai have nothing to do with it. So, I don't know. I feel like it's going to fail. Like, why would you have this hit show and then... Like, I feel like their mindset is Cobra Kai's in, so we're going to make Karate Kid.
They don't need to remake it again.
Yeah, it's going to be bad because you have a Miyagi-verse.
Yes. Yeah, and so it's one of those things, too, even before Cobra Kai came out, like, I didn't mind that one that they came out with, like, what was it, like, Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
I didn't mind that one. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was corny as heck, just like Karate Kid should be, but I'm like, don't just announce that a Karate Kid movie is happening and give us no information. Like,
yeah.
And this is Sony, and we know Sony's being very, they're kind of playing fast and loose with other properties. So, like, what are you guys gonna do?
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense if it's not part of the Miyagi verse in any way.
They could literally...
Like, if that Karate Kid show were to come out, or that Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan would have came out now, it also wouldn't have made sense. Like, you've got this IP that is doing really, really well. It's like the Transformers trying to have two different universes at the same time.
That's a good comparison, because that's exactly what's happening, I think, almost. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily make sense to me.
Yeah.
Sticking with Sony, now that you mention it, one thing that they are doing is, like, all of their video games are turning into movies or TV shows. We've talked about this before, but just to go through them. Uncharted came out, and now we have a Twisted Metal series at Peacock, a Last of Us series at HBO, God of War is going to Amazon, Horizon, Zero Dawn Horizon series at Netflix. And this sounds cool. I didn't know about this one. Ghost of Tsushima movie. Not say that word. Tsushima. Directed by the director of John Wick. And I'm like, that sounds fun.
He wants to make that one fully Japanese if he can. Like,
that's cool.
Like, that'd be so awesome.
Another movie they're working on is Gran Turismo. And we've got some casting for it. We've got David Harbour and Orlando Bloom, which I didn't know about that one.
I feel like Orlando
Bloom piques my interest. The what?
I feel like Orlando Bloom hasn't been in anything, like, at all, like, in, like, recent years.
Yeah, the last thing I saw him in, and he was absolutely amazing, was Carnival Row.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's pretty recent.
It's an Amazon show that didn't do really well. It should have been, like, a PG-13 show, and it was rated M for mature, and it was about fairies in a steampunk world. Like fairies and elves and stuff. It was real weird. But the very first scene of that is him, I think he's interrogating someone, or he's just, like, talking to a witness. I can't remember. But there's so much emotion, and, like, you just tell him processing the information through just the looks on his face.
That's cool.
It's really good acting, and it's, like, the very first scene of the show. It's at least the very first time you see him. And, yeah, really, really cool. So, I don't know. David Harbour's a good actor, but just what do you do with Gran Turismo? It's a car simulator, driving simulator.
Yeah, so it's weird, because at least with Need for Speed, I get it, but also Fast and the Furious happened, so it's like...
Yeah.
And that movie was, in the Need for Speed movie, that was, like, what'd you call it earlier? Great Value. You called it Great Value.
Great Value, Fast and Furious, yeah.
With Aaron,
meets Uber.
With Aaron Paul. Yeah, so with this, I'm like, I know Gran Turismo is supposed to be, like, car aficionados, and, like, it's supposed to be, like, this prestigious kind of style thing, especially for a car sim. Gran Turismo was once the king of car sims before, like, Forza and stuff came around like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could easily make a movie about Forza, I think, quicker than you could Gran Turismo, because Forza is centered around festivals. You could center it around the biggest car festival, like, in the world or something, but...
Yeah, there's not really much story for Gran Turismo. It's just about the realism of driving.
Yep.
it's a weird call.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that like if they just get the right writers in, and I don't know the names off the top of my head. They say the writers and stuff in here. I think Jason Hall did American Sniper, and Zach Baylin did King Richard, which I don't think I've seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but that movie was. That's the one Will Smith won an Oscar for after the slap.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I hope like they just if they take it really seriously and they make this kind of emotional car movie, kind of like Ford versus Ferrari or something.
Yes.
I could see it maybe working, but it almost needs to be about the car companies and not about the video game.
Yes, because other than that, it'll be rich men like white rich men arguing or racing about like whose car is the nicest or fastest. Like like I don't know, like like
you can't just have like a racing movie.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like what
it's gonna have to have a pretty good story. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird choice.
It is.
But we'll see. I don't know. I don't want to knock it till we see at least trailers.
Right,
I guess.
right. I mean, I like
it just
David
doesn't make
Harbour,
sense to me yet.
So who knows?
Yeah. The last piece of news that we have, and this also, I don't know. I'm excited, but it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm kind of bummed at the same time. So, Constantine is an old movie with Keanu Reeves, and it didn't do super good. It's a fun movie. I liked it.
I was gonna say I think people like it as a movie on its own. They don't necessarily like it because it's a DC property, like
right. And there's a new Constantine actor that he's done really, really well, and so he's been in all of the animated stuff, which has been cool. Yep. He had his own NBC show, and then he was gonna have an HBO Max show. To me, I'm trying to think of his name right now.
Is it Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan, yeah. To me, he's Constantine. But they're making a sequel to Constantine, the Keanu Reeves version, with Keanu Reeves. I'm assuming just because Keanu Reeves is really big right now. And so, why not, use his name and, make him a DC movie? Yeah. They're trying to make DC good again.
People are, and so I was going to say, people are already questioning, Warner Brothers, so it's like, this doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why get rid of Matt Ryan? I know he's not as big of an actor as Keanu Reeves, but that would have been a really cool thing to do.
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
Just make him Constantine. It doesn't have to be canon or anything. And then why make so there's rumors that it's going to be part of the Dark Justice League, and if they're trying to bring all the DC stuff together into the DC EU thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to make the first Constantine movie the first movie in DC's new line of, movies?
Mm-hmm.
As, by release? That's just a weird choice to me, that if I want to watch all of the,
you gotta go way back.
Man of Steel and Aquaman and stuff but first you need to watch Constantine. It just doesn't make
if they're even doing
sense.
That, I think there's still so much that's up in the air. So it's also okay.
Yeah, and there's no telling that that's what they're doing, but I know they're making that Joker movie, and then there's a couple other things that are outside of canon.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be the direction they wanted to go, is start making
restart a universe,
restoring
again.
that universe, or just some form of that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's a weird choice.
I mean,
I'm kind of bummed about the HBO show.
Yeah, I'm more confused as to why that choice has been made, because I'm not against people trying something unique or different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against Keanu Reeves playing Constantine again, because I guess people liked it enough. But also it's okay, well, this doesn't roll with everything else.
Yeah, I would rather him pick one other character.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of forgotten about Constantine.
Yeah.
One cool thing and really interesting as well is that J.J. Abrams was set to produce the HBO show.
Mm.
And he's set to produce this movie now.
That's weird.
Yeah. So it's what changed in that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. DC is making weird moves. Warner Brothers is making weird moves.
Mm-hmm.
They just had. Did you see the Teen Titans Go piece with Zack Snyder?
Oh, I saw he was in an episode or something, wasn't he? I didn't actually see
it was the 365th episode. And Warner Bros. Is like, doesn't like the Snyder Cut. They don't want to talk about the Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut's bad to Warner Bros. Like a bad word. But then they have Teen Titans Go to have Snyder like join an episode and then make this really cool animated Snyder Cut of Teen Titans.
Really?
Versus Darkseid. Yeah. It looks like Justice League War in animation style.
That's crazy.
But all of the voice actors are the same from Teen Titans Go, and their like lines and dialogue are real stupid.
That's funny.
But it looks really good. And it's like, why would you encourage everyone to like remember the Snyder?
Yeah, if you want to bury it, like.
Yeah, DC Warner Brothers really needs to give us their intentions because we have no idea what's going on.
Yes.
We needed a fandom. I can't believe we didn't get one.
Nope. Oh yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're actually not getting one.
Yeah, we were talking about that in a couple months ago.
Yep.
That we figured we would get one soon, and there's nothing.
Yeah, there was like official confirmation, I think.
Yeah. That's the movie news, though. We'll get into TV we've been watching. We've both been watching Cobra Kai. I'm not quite finished with it.
I was hoping
LJ.
you'd be finished. Not that we would still be able to say much more.
Yeah.
But, like, I think, honestly, this is one of the best written seasons so far.
Yes.
I think it's because they're
really
more
well.
self-aware, and they realize how bad they hammed it up last season. And it just feels much more clever than Cobra Kai has been. You know, like, in a while.
They do stuff with the characters that I wanted in the last couple seasons, I think. Trying to think of what seasons they're watching because they're all much together anymore.
Yeah.
But just that, I don't know. They have this thesis of kind of like people aren't what they seem, and they did really good with that in the first season.
Yes.
And then they didn't really like do that. They kind of went like people don't change for a while. And so I always like character development, and these are characters. Some of them from the 80s.
Yep.
And so it's cool to see that some of those characters have changed and grown up.
Yes.
In those 30 years and are different people than they were back then.
Yep.
Truly.
Yeah.
There's still some stupid things that happen that you're just like, you guys would just talk.
Of course. Of course, definitely. But then there's...
You just want to put all the cast in a room and be like, okay, now you have to...
Yes. And then there's
talk it over.
There's also things where I'm like, okay, are they going to do this? And then I'm like, okay, they actually didn't. All right.
Yeah. Well, good job.
Yeah. Good job. You didn't evolve a fight out of this discussion.
Right. Yeah, one of those episodes, I can talk about it off the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast was real nail biting for me. I was like, ooh, is it going to happen?
That's great.
But Cobra Kai, really good. I don't know. So a kid at work, she's like 22, I think, asked me if Cobra Kai was worth watching. And I didn't know how to answer. So I'm like, is it good if you haven't watched Karate Kid or like love Karate Kid? And I mean, I didn't love Karate Kid before Cobra Kai, but I had seen them all, and they were all like helped raise me. You know, like they're part of
because
my childhood.
The story of Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Miyagi is like, especially with if you have parents who grew up watching it or like older siblings more than anything, then yes, you're going to know who Mr. Miyagi is and you're going to know Karate Kid. Like, I mean, that stuff, like if it was my older brother and my family that like, they watched Karate Kid and they loved it. So therefore I watched all of them at some point too.
Yeah. So for a 20-year-old kid, I don't know if the show is good or not. I think it is. I think it's worth watching, but you may not, without that connection, really care about any of these characters.
The only frame of reference I think I have is somebody like Shelley, who I don't think even watched any of it, and I'm like, thankfully she enjoys it, but Shelley also can enjoy some ultra cheesy things too and still appreciate it. But there's just a lot of people out there where I'm like, I don't think I can recommend this to you.
If you know about Karate Kid in any way, like if you've seen bits and pieces of the movie on TV, I think it's worth watching.
Yes.
If not, you have no idea about anything with Karate Kid. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it'd be worth it
right.
or not. Yeah, up to you. I'm not gonna give you the. I'm not gonna give you a guess. I go ahead. The other show is She-Hulk, and I'm frustrated, but I can't say why. There's a certain things that I want to be happening that aren't happening yet. Hopefully, the next episode will bring them to light.
I think the next episode it will happen. But as far as like, I still enjoy it. I know it's. I feel like Marvel is almost like Star Wars these days, where it's like the cool thing to like pick at it and hate on it. Yeah. But I don't care. I'm here along for the ride. I'm riding this hype train until the wheels fall off. I think it's genuinely been funny and enjoyable, especially having read some of the comic now. At this point, I'm like, this is on brand. It's perfect. It's pretty darn close as like to what She-Hulk is in the comics. Okay. So I'm like, this is it. Like, there's a reason they're doing ultra stupid stuff is because there's ultra stupid stuff that happens in the comics too. So I'm just like, it's on brand.
I will say, like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm easy to please. My only complaint is I do wish the courtroom... there's, like, a courtroom case almost in every episode. Because she demands that it be a lawyer show. I just wish that those were a little bit more cleverly written. Yeah. Their solutions are these silly wonky
they're
things.
They're very basic. Like, great.
Yeah. And it just seems kind of like... meh. Yeah. I don't know. If... I just know that Marvel's capable of writing something that would be, like... really mind-blowing, like, oh, I can't believe they found that case that way. I think of, like, My Cousin Vinny, which has a stupid solution at the end, but it's clever. It's like, oh, man, I can't believe, like... Yeah. And, it kind of surprises you in that way.
Yeah, so I guess I can give a good example of how I would want a court case to go in the show. I mean, I haven't actually gotten to the court case part of the comic yet, but there's this part in the comic early on where... they're like, oh, like she's like, she's looking for legal files, and they're like, oh, those are in the basement, but you're looking for the attic, which is where we keep all the long boxes. And so then she's like, okay, why are they sending me down here? And it turns out because actual Marvel Comics in the Marvel Comics universe are real licensed accounts. So like, there's all the superheroes actually have to approve them, because she even says like. She's studying for an origin case to turn an origin case into a lawsuit. And so she goes, and she's like, then I've reached mine. And she goes, I remember having to license this when I was on the Avengers. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So like she's sitting there having to study all these different origin comics to build a case on this origin of this guy's powers that have ruined his life. And so I'm like, this is how it needs to be in the show.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. They just made them very slapstick, and I think, although, like, I'm not saying it can't be funny. Yeah. I just think that it would be... We haven't seen her be a good lawyer yet. We've seen her be a lucky lawyer.
You say slapstick, and that is the perfect example of what this show is.
Yeah.
It's very...
I don't want a lucky lawyer. I want to see her be a good lawyer.
Yes.
And I think they need to work on that just a little bit. So I'm sure at some point, maybe if they do another season or something, that'll come to light. But, or maybe later on in this season. But so far, it's just been kind of... Man, you got really fortunate with that one. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I love it. I think it's funny. I think it's dumb in a good way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Very curious about how Daredevil will fall into everything with such a serious character. I'm hoping that they don't make him funny. Like, I hope that the comedy comes from him being so serious that it's ridiculous.
Yes.
I think ridiculous situations where he's like super focused would be great.
Super focused and serious, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe less dumb, but like just overly serious and it's silly. I think that would be good.
Oh yeah.
I've also watched Rings of Power.
Nice.
And I don't really have much more to say on it. Like, it's just...
It's very...
The show is just kind of existing for me.
It's slow-paced.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I don't like they're not called half-foots. I called them half-foots for a while, and that's not the right name. The not hobbits.
There's something foots.
Harfoots.
Oh, yeah,
Harfoots,
yeah,
that's what they're called. I don't like them. I've determined the comedy and the writing for them is very specific, and it's supposed to be kind of goofy and kind of this lighthearted, and the rest of the show is much more serious.
Yeah.
And I'll contrast that with I really like the elf and dwarf dynamics.
Yes.
I like
Yep.
The hobbits just feel childish.
Yep.
And so
the Harfoots,
yeah,
I feel like they're trying to capture the Merry Pippin dynamic with the Harfoots.
Yeah. And it's just not, I don't know.
Yep.
It just doesn't feel right to the show.
They want to give you a second
like a super
breakfast
dark,
with
mature
the
Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I just don't want the super childish conversation and goofiness that they bring to the show. Other than that, this last episode had a lot of elf dwarf stuff, and that stuff captures me. I'm like, that's Lord of the Rings to me. Orlando Bloom and I can't remember the actor's name is it Gimli?
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Such a good dynamic. Elves and dwarves are always great in shows. I don't know why. Really like that. Are you watching anything else this week?
That's kind of it.
Cool. We will get into the TV news then. I'm going to kind of run through these. Invincible. We got 2 Amazon news. Invincible Season 3 is in the progress of voice recording, which is crazy because we don't have Season 2. You heard me right.
Oh
Season
gosh.
3. So they should be releasing things like once Season 2 gets
Wait,
released.
Is that news piece for Season 3, or did you just say that?
No, a news piece is for Season 3.
That's okay. That tripped me up because I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a Season 2.
Yeah, it makes it almost sound like Season 2 is out.
Wow. Okay.
But that means that it should be we should be getting a lot of Invincible after Season 2.
Yes.
If they're already doing production, that means that some of the animation has already started. So they don't usually animate until, they kind of, I don't know. It depends on the process, but a lot of time, most of that basic animation is done, and then they kind of do the faces afterwards.
Yes.
From what I've seen. Invincible, if you don't know, is a mature animated superhero show.
It's really good though. Really.
Yeah, the story is amazing.
Yeah.
It flips everything on its head, and it is probably much easier to watch than The Boys in a lot of ways.
Yes.
It's gory, but I think it kind of ends at goriness, gory, a lot of cursing. I don't remember there being a lot of sexual content.
I don't remember either. I know there's a lot of bloody stuff
gory.
going on.
Super dark.
It wasn't nearly as sexual as The Boys, though. I do remember that. The Boys gets very sexual.
It's kind of, I don't know, just flips the genre on its head in a really cool way. I think it's worth watching. And then what probably will have tons of nudity is Bladerunner 2099, and that is obviously 50 years in front of 49. Is that right?
Yes.
2049.
Yep.
Trying to do math.
Yep.
It's an Amazon TV show about Blade Runner, which sounds just like Altered Carbon to me.
Yes.
But I'm kind of okay with that. I love cyberpunk stuff, so Blade Runner is a little slow. Hopefully this will be a little bit quicker. But aesthetically, Blade Runner is great. So I'm so down to put us in that world for a TV show. Hopefully, my one problem with Blade Runner is it's very heady.
Oh yeah.
So I hope that they don't get too confusing. I don't want to Ridley Scott. He did that, didn't he? Didn't he do Blade Runner the first one?
I think so.
Now that I say that, I was thinking of Raised by Wolves. Is a really good show, but it's very heady and slow.
Before we get too far.
Yeah. Yeah, Ridley Scott.
Okay, good.
I'm right. It says on.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I think of the Raised by Wolves, which is a very deep thinking show. You have to really kind of like wrap your mind around concepts. And so I kind of want just more like noir action cyberpunk scenes.
Well, that's what I kind of liked. And I feel like 2049 gets a lot of flack, but I really love the like detective work that Ryan Gosling's character was trying to do to like find himself.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
I like 2049 more than the original.
The original is very rough. That's like the original is very much a film school movie, like type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want more.
Yep.
More of the 2049.
Yes.
Ridley Scott is a producer, so we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get too crazy with making me think. I don't want to think when I'm watching something. Sometimes I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool. There's no release date for that one. But I'm excited. Amazon's been doing some good stuff lately, so.
They have been.
The last thing makes a ton of sense. Ms. Marvel Season 2 has been confirmed. Reportedly confirmed. So, I don't know what reportedly confirmed means because they don't say where it was reported from on any of the articles that I've seen. But I would believe that. Even if it is just rumored, it makes sense that Hollywood Scooper. That I don't know what that means. Yeah.
They might be a pooper scooper.
Yeah. Hollywood Scooper Daniel Richmond from CBR.
Oh, comic book resources. Huh.
Yeah. But it's kind of their Spider-Man. She's very much got Spider-Man's.
See, that feels weird to say because they literally had Spider-Man in the palm of their hands.
Yeah.
But it was still Sony.
Spider-Man would have been, with Tom Holland, would have been a great TV show. I think that would have been a really good medium for them to get into his high school stuff.
Oh, yeah. They need to have a Ms. Marvel Spider-Man team up if that can ever be a thing.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
I like the idea of a season 2 only because, like, that Ms. Marvel was a show I was very conflicted with. I'm like, I feel like the show's not great, but I still really enjoyed it. Like, there was a lot to enjoy about that show, but there was also stuff that I was kind of like, eh.
It was better than I thought it would be.
Yes.
I thought it would be more Disney Channel than it was.
Yes.
But it's almost like they took very well-trained, very professional people and made them make a Disney Plus TV show. Or Disney Plus
Cobra Kai is more of a Disney Channel show than this is.
Yeah. So, like, it was a lot of teenage dynamics that you don't really see in Marvel stuff, but I think it was done really well. So, I would like to see another season where she's got her powers more figured out and it's less of an origin story. I think that could be really cool. Plus, if this happens, it is after the movie, so a lot could happen in
Definitely.
that too. And yeah, that is the TV news for the week. We should be back next week with Shelley. She should be feeling better probably. I think that is it then. You geeking out about anything else this week?
Not really. Just I'll be talking about Gundam Evolution next week since that game comes out pretty soon here. So cool. I'm excited about that.
Well, then I am going to go play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
2077, maybe. Or I'll probably just create a character. If I'm being honest.
You feel like I'll play for an hour, but that hour is going to be making a character.
Yeah. Character creation can take all day for me.
It's got a photo mode.
Yeah. Ooh.
Maybe I'll pop back on that then and be able to have more conversation about it next week.
Yeah. Where can they find you at, LJ?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at LJ the Paladin.
Cool. You can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.